Somewhere far above the world you are resting in tonight, two great spirals of stars are drifting toward each other across an ocean of darkness so wide it almost has no meaning. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, and its enormous neighbor Andromeda have been falling together for billions of years, and slowly, gently, they are going to meet. Tonight, we will follow that slow embrace and discover what truly happens when two galaxies touch. If this quiet journey through the cosmos brings you ease, a soft like and a subscribe helps other tired souls find these stories in the dark. And before we drift onward, tell me softly, where in the world are you listening from, and what hour glows on your clock tonight? Let yourself grow still now. There is nothing left for you to do tonight, nothing that cannot wait until the light returns. So, let the weight of the day begin to leave you. Slowly, the way warmth leaves a stone after the sun has gone down. Feel the surface beneath you, holding you completely. You do not have to hold yourself up anymore. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands rest open or curled, however they wish to lie. Let the small muscles around your eyes loosen, and let your breath find its own slow rhythm without you guiding it at all. We are going to take a journey tonight, you and I, and it is a journey that asks nothing of you. You do not need to remember any of it. You do not need to understand every word. You only need to lie here and let the story move through you, the way a slow current moves through deep water, carrying you gently towards sleep. This is Midnight Science, and tonight we are going to travel further than almost anything you have ever imagined. We are going to leave this room behind. We are going to leave the city or the quiet countryside around you behind. We are going to rise up past the rooftops and the clouds and the thin blue edge of the sky, out into the dark, and we are going to look at the place we live from the outside, because there is something happening out there, something so vast and so slow that it has been unfolding since long before the first human being ever drew breath, and it will continue long after. Two great islands of stars are drifting toward one another across the dark, and tonight we are going to follow them. But before we travel so far, let us begin with home. Look up in your mind on a clear and moonless night, far from the glow of any town. If you have ever been somewhere truly dark, you may remember it. A faint band of soft light stretches across the whole sky, pale and milky, like a river of mist that someone poured carefully from one horizon to the other. The ancient peoples who saw it gave it many names. Some called it a river, some called it a road for the dead, or a path for the gods, or a spill of milk across the heavens. We call it the Milky Way, and that gentle band of light is the galaxy we live inside. It is easy to forget that we live inside it. We tend to think of the Milky Way as something out there, something we look at, but we are not looking at it from the outside. We are within it, deep within it, looking out through its glowing crowd of stars toward its farther edge. That soft band across the sky is what our own galaxy looks like when we gaze along its flattened disk, edge on, from a small world tucked partway out along one of its spiral arms. Every single star you have ever seen with your unaided eye, every point of light that has ever made you pause and wonder, belongs to this one galaxy. Every one of them is a neighbor, and there are so many of them. Our galaxy holds somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. The number is so large that it slips through the mind without leaving a mark, so let us slow down and try to feel it. Imagine that you decided to count the stars of the Milky Way, one each second, never pausing, never sleeping, never stopping to eat or rest. One star every second, through every minute and every hour. At that pace, counting without end, it would take you thousands of years simply to count them all. You would have begun counting before the pyramids were built, and you would still be counting now, and you would still have far, far to go. That is one galaxy. That is our galaxy. That is only home. And every one of those stars is a sun. Many of them have worlds of their own, planets circling them the way our Earth circles ours. Some of them rocky and warm, some of them frozen, some of them wrapped in storms that have raged for longer than there have been oceans on Earth. When you look up at that soft river of light, you are looking at a crowd of suns so dense and so distant that they blur together into a single glowing haze. Each pinpoint that resolves into a star is a place, and the haze behind it is made of more places than you could visit in 1,000 lifetimes. This is where we live. This is the home our whole history has happened inside. Every person who has ever lived, every face you have ever loved, every word ever spoken in every language that has ever existed, all of it has taken place here on one small world, circling one ordinary star, in one arm of this single spiral of light. The Milky Way has held all of human history without ever once noticing that we were here. It is that large, and we are that small, and somehow that thought is not frightening at all. It is almost tender. We are held by something immense and quiet, something that has cradled every story we have ever told. Now let your gaze drift gently away from that bright familiar band toward a darker and quieter part of the sky. There is a constellation that the old stargazers named Andromeda, after a figure from an ancient story. And on a clear autumn night, if the sky is dark enough and your eyes have had time to adjust, you may be able to find a faint and fuzzy patch of light there, small and dim, easy to miss, the kind of thing you might mistake for a smudge on the lens of a telescope or a tired blur in your own eye. It does not twinkle the way a star does. It simply glows, softly, a little oval of pale light hanging in the dark. That faint smudge is the most distant object that human eyes can see without any help at all. No telescope, no instrument, just your own eyes lifted to the night. And it is not a star. It is not a cloud of gas within our own galaxy. It is another galaxy entirely, a vast spiral of its own, turning slowly in the deep, and it is called Andromeda. For most of human history, no one knew what it was. People saw the little smudge and assumed it was simply some small nearby thing, a cloud among the stars. It was only about 100 years ago that we finally understood the truth, and the truth was almost too large to believe. That faint patch of light is not small, and it is not nearby. It only looks that way because it is so unimaginably far. In truth, it is a galaxy much like our own, perhaps even larger, a great wheel of stars turning in the dark, and the light glowing from it is the combined light of something like 1 trillion suns. 1 trillion. Let that number rest for a moment, because it does not want to fit inside a single thought. If our own galaxy holds a few 100 billion stars, Andromeda may hold several times more. When you look at that little smudge, you are not seeing a star. You are seeing the gathered glow of 1 trillion stars, blended together by distance into one soft and silent light. Whole civilizations could have risen and fallen on worlds within that glow, and you would never know, and they would never know of you. It is simply there, a quiet oval in the autumn sky, the nearest of the great galaxies, our closest large companion in all the universe. And now we come to the distance between us, because the distance is part of the wonder. When we say Andromeda is far away, the ordinary words begin to fail. So let us reach for something we can almost feel. Light is the fastest thing there is. Nothing in the universe travels more quickly. A beam of light can circle the entire Earth nearly 8 times in a single second. In 1 second, light leaps a distance that would take you years to drive. It is so fast that for everything in our daily lives, it might as well be instant. When you switch on a lamp, the light fills the room before you can even notice it move. Now hold that speed in your mind, that impossible swiftness, and consider this. The light that you see when you look at Andromeda, the light entering your eyes on that dark autumn night, left that galaxy around 2.5 million years ago. It has been traveling without ever slowing at the fastest speed the universe allows for 2.5 million years just to reach you. It crossed an emptiness so wide that even light, the swiftest thing there is, needed millions of years to cross it. Think of what that means. When that light first began its journey, there were no cities on Earth. There was no writing, no farming, no wheel. The ancestors of our species were just beginning to walk upright across the plains of an ancient world, and they would have looked nothing like you. That light has been crossing the dark for the entire span of human existence, and far longer, and it arrives only now, tonight, to touch your eyes for an instant before you close them. You are not seeing Andromeda as it is. You are seeing it as it was, a portrait carried faithfully across the dark for longer than there have been people to receive it. That is how far apart we are. 2 great spirals of stars, each holding hundreds of billions or trillions of suns, separated by an ocean of emptiness so wide that light itself takes millions of years to cross from one shore to the other. Between them lies almost nothing at all, just the dark and the faint, thin scattering of a few small galaxies, and the long silence of space. It would be easy to think that 2 things so far apart, so utterly distant, could have nothing to do with one another, that they are simply 2 strangers, glowing quietly on opposite sides of a vast and empty room, destined never to meet. For a long time, we might have imagined it that way. 2 islands of light, fixed in their places, turning slowly through the ages, each minding its own small crowd of stars, forever separated by that uncrossable dark. But the universe is not still. Nothing in it is truly fixed. Everything drifts, everything turns, everything is drawn by the gentle and endless pull of gravity toward everything else. And when astronomers looked closely at that faint smudge of light, when they measured it with great care over many patient years, they found something quietly astonishing. Andromeda is moving. It is not sitting in its place across the dark. It is drifting, slowly, steadily, through the emptiness. And it is not drifting away from us, the way almost every other distant galaxy in the universe is. It is drifting toward us. Across that vast ocean of dark, across the millions of light years that separate us, the great spiral of Andromeda is falling closer, little by little, age by age, leaning gently in our direction, as though something between us has been pulling the 2 of us together for a very long time. We are not strangers after all. We are 2 travelers on the same slow current, and the current is carrying us toward one another. What that means, and how slowly, and how strangely, and how beautifully it will unfold, is the journey we will take together over the nights ahead. But for now, this is enough. For now, Simply hold the picture in your mind as you lie here in the dark. Two great wheels of light turning in the deep, an ocean of emptiness between them, so wide that light grows old while crossing it. And the slow, patient, almost tender fact that across all that distance, the two of them are drifting closer. That somewhere far above the room you are resting in, our galaxy and its enormous neighbor are quietly falling toward each other, and have been for billions of years, and will be for billions more. There is no danger in it. There is nothing to fear. It is happening so slowly that no single life could ever watch it move, the way no single glance could ever watch a mountain rise or a canyon deepen. It is a motion measured not in days or years but in ages, in the slow turning of the cosmos itself. And tonight you do not need to do anything about it at all. You only need to lie here, held by the earth, beneath the soft river of your home galaxy, and let yourself drift the way the galaxies drift, slowly, gently, without effort, towards something quiet and certain. Let your breath slow a little more. Feel how small the room is, and how large the dark beyond it, and how peaceful it is to be a small, warm thing resting safely inside something so immense. The two galaxies are in no hurry, neither are you. There is all the time in the universe, and more. And so the two of them drift closer through the dark, and the question begins to form, soft and unhurried, somewhere at the edge of thought. How could anyone possibly know such a thing? How could anyone tell that a faint smudge of light, 2.5 million years away, is moving at all, let alone moving toward us? That is where we will go next, into the quiet and patient art of listening to the light. But not yet. For now, simply rest and let the galaxies turn. So let us stay with that question for a while, gently, the way you might turn a smooth stone over in your hand without any need to put it down. How could anyone know? How could anyone look at a faint and trembling smudge of light, so far away that its glow is older than our entire species, and say with quiet confidence that it is moving, and not only moving, but moving toward us? It seems almost impossible. It seems like the kind of thing no one could ever truly measure. And yet we have, and the way we came to know it is one of the softest and most patient stories in all of science. It begins with light, because almost everything we know about the distant universe begins with light. We cannot travel to Andromeda. We cannot reach out and touch it, or send anything to it, or hear any sound from it, because sound cannot cross the emptiness of space. The only thing that ever comes to us from out there is light. Light is the one messenger that makes the crossing. And so everything we know about that great spiral, its size, its age, its motion, all of it has been read from the light alone. It is worth pausing here to feel how strange and wonderful that is. The light that left Andromeda millions of years ago is not simply a glow, it is a message. It is carrying information across the dark, faithfully, without ever changing, the way a sealed letter carries its words across an ocean. And hidden inside that light, written in a language we slowly learn to read, is the story of where it came from and what it has been doing. We only had to learn how to listen. So let us learn, gently, the way the astronomers learned over many lifetimes of patient attention. When you look at ordinary light, it seems simple. The light of the sun seems white. The light of a lamp seems warm and plain. But hidden inside that plainness is a secret. And the secret is that white light is not one thing at all. It is many things together, every color blended into one. You have seen this secret revealed. You have seen it in a rainbow, when raindrops in the air spread the sunlight out into its hidden colors, red and orange and yellow and green and blue and violet, the whole soft band of them arching across the sky. The rainbow does not add anything to the light. It only spreads out what was always there, the way you might fan out a deck of cards to see each one. The colors were hiding inside the white the entire time. Astronomers learned to do this on purpose. They learned to take the light of a distant star or a distant galaxy and spread it out, carefully, into all its colors, into a long, soft band running from red at one end to violet at the other. And when they did this, they found something they did not expect. The band of colors was not perfectly smooth. Running through it were thin, dark lines, narrow gaps where certain colors seemed to be missing, as though someone had drawn faint pencil marks across the rainbow. These lines are not flaws, they are signatures. Every kind of atom in the universe, hydrogen, helium, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, every element absorbs and gives off light at its own particular colors, and only those colors, like a fingerprint or like a voice. When light passes through the gas of a distant star, the atoms in that gas drink in their own special colors and leave behind those thin, dark lines. And so by reading the pattern of lines in the spread out light, we can know what a star is made of, even from across the galaxy, even from across the universe. We can hold up the light of something we will never reach and say, there is hydrogen there is calcium there, the same elements we find here in our own hands and our own world. The whole universe, it turns out, is written in the same alphabet. But this is where the story deepens, and where the secret of Andromeda's motion begins to reveal itself. Because those thin, dark lines have a fixed place. We know exactly which color each one should sit at, because we can measure the very same elements here on Earth in a quiet laboratory and watch where their lines fall. Hydrogen always marks the same spot. Calcium always marks the same spot. They are reliable. They are like the markings on a ruler that never change. And yet, when astronomers measured the light of distant galaxies, they found that the lines were not quite where they should be. The whole pattern was shifted, slid a little to one side. All the lines moved together toward the red end of the band, or sometimes toward the blue. The fingerprint was the same, unmistakably the same, but it had been gently nudged out of place. And the question of why it moves and what that movement means is the heart of how we came to know the secret of the sky. The answer is one of the most beautiful and quiet truths in all of science, and you have already felt it, even if you never named it. You have heard it on an ordinary day without ever thinking of starlight at all. Imagine you are standing by a road and a car is coming toward you with its engine humming. As it approaches, the sound has a certain high, steady pitch, and then it passes you and rushes away. And in the moment it passes, the pitch of the sound drops, lowers, deepens, sliding down to something softer and lower as the car recedes into the distance. You have heard this 1,000 times. The rising whine of approach, the falling tone of departure. It is so familiar that we never wonder at it. But there is wonder in it. What is happening is that the sound waves themselves are being gently squeezed and stretched by the motion. As the car comes toward you, each wave of sound is pressed a little closer to the one before it, crowded together, and crowded waves mean a higher pitch. As the car moves away, each wave is stretched a little farther from the one before it, spread out, and stretched waves mean a lower pitch. The sound itself is changed by the simple fact of motion. Coming closer crowds the waves. Moving away stretches them. That is all. And here is the quiet miracle. Light does this too. Light, like sound, travels in waves. And just as the waves of sound are crowded when something approaches and stretched when it departs, so too are the waves of light. When a source of light moves toward us, its waves are gently crowded together, shifted toward the blue end of the rainbow, because blue light is made of shorter, more crowded waves. When a source of light moves away from us, its waves are stretched out, shifted toward the red end, because red light is made of longer, more spread out waves. We cannot hear it the way we hear the car, because our eyes do not work that way. But the shift is there, written in the light, waiting to be read. This is the secret of those misplaced lines. When astronomers saw the fingerprint of hydrogen or calcium slid toward the red, they understood at last what it meant. The galaxy was moving away. Its light had been stretched by its departure. The lines dragged toward the red, and the more they were dragged, the faster the galaxy was leaving. And when they looked out at the universe and measured galaxy after galaxy after galaxy, they found something that changed how we see everything. Almost every galaxy, in every direction, showed its lines shifted toward the red. Almost everything in the universe is moving away from us. The whole vast cosmos is gently expanding. Every distant galaxy drifting farther into the dark, the light of nearly all of them stretched and reddened by their endless retreat. Sit with that for a moment, because it is a lonely and beautiful fact. We live in a universe that is, almost everywhere, growing more distant. Reach out toward almost any galaxy you choose, and it is already leaving, already sliding away into the deepening dark, its light reddening as it goes. The general rule of the cosmos is separation. The general rule is goodbye. And that is what makes Andromeda so extraordinary. Because when astronomers turn their instruments toward that faint familiar smudge in the autumn sky, when they spread its light into all its colors and found the fingerprint of its elements and looked to see which way the lines had shifted, they found that the lines had not slid toward the red, they had slid the other way, toward the blue. Andromeda's light was not stretched, it was crowded. Its waves were pressed closer together, nudged toward the blue end of the band. And there is only one thing in all the universe that can do that. Andromeda is not leaving. Andromeda is coming closer, in a universe where almost everything is racing away, where the great rule is retreat and separation and the slow reddening of departure. This one great spiral leans toward us instead. Its light arrives gently blue-shifted, the quiet signature of approach, the same crowding of waves you would hear in the rising hum of something drawing near. Out of all the countless galaxies scattered through the dark, our nearest large companion is among the rare few that is not saying goodbye. It is, in its own slow and silent way, coming home toward us. And the light tells us more than the simple fact of approach. The amount of the shift, how far the lines have slid toward the blue, tells us how quickly. Read carefully. The blue shift of Andromeda reveals that it is moving toward us at something like 100 to 110 kilometers in a single second. Let us try to feel that speed, because it is difficult to hold. In the time it takes you to breathe in, slowly, and breathe out again, Andromeda has drawn perhaps 1,000 kilometers nearer. In the small, quiet moment between one heartbeat and the next, it has closed a distance greater than the length of many countries. It is not drifting lazily. By any measure we could touch, it is moving with tremendous speed, faster than any craft we have ever built, faster than almost anything in our experience. And yet, and this is the gentleness at the center of it all, the distance between us is so vast that even at that astonishing speed, the journey takes ages. Andromeda races toward us at 100 kilometers every second, without rest, without pause, and still it will be billions of years before anything comes of it. The speed is enormous, and the distance is more enormous still, and so the approach unfolds slower than the slowest thing you have ever known. Fast beyond imagining, and patient beyond imagining, both at once. That is the strange and quiet truth of the cosmos. It can move with terrible swiftness and still take longer than the age of the Earth to arrive. Now, knowing the speed of approach is one thing, but there was a deeper question, a harder one, and reaching its answer took some of the most patient watching that human beings have ever done. You see, knowing that something is coming straight toward you is not the same as knowing where it will go. Andromeda is approaching, yes, the blue shift tells us that much plainly. But a thing can approach and still pass to one side. The way two people walking across a wide field might be moving generally toward each other, and yet drift past one another without ever touching. To truly know the fate of these two galaxies, it was not enough to measure how fast Andromeda comes toward us along our line of sight. We also needed to measure something far more subtle, far harder to catch. We needed to measure whether it is also sliding sideways, drifting across our view, the tiny sideways motion that would decide whether the two galaxies meet head-on or merely brush past each other in the dark. And this sideways motion is almost impossibly small to see. The blue shift, the motion toward us, leaves its mark plainly in the colors of the light, but the sideways drift leaves no such easy signature. To measure it, astronomers had to do something that asks for a patience close to devotion. They had to take careful images of Andromeda, marking the exact positions of its stars against the far more distant galaxies behind it. And then they had to wait years. They had to come back again and again over long spans of time and take the same images and measure whether those stars had shifted even a little, even by an amount so small it strains the meaning of the word small. How small? Imagine watching a single hair from the width of a room and trying to see it move sideways by less than its own thickness. Imagine watching the slow hand of a clock that takes not hours but tens of thousands of years to sweep across its face and trying to catch it moving. That is the scale of the sideways drift of Andromeda across our sky. It is so slight that across an entire human lifetime, across all the years you will ever live, it would not move enough to notice without the most delicate instruments ever built. And yet, they measured it. The great eye of the Hubble telescope, watching from above the blur of our atmosphere, returned to Andromeda across years and tracked the faint creeping of its stars. And later, a quieter instrument named Gaia took up the same patient work. A spacecraft built to do almost nothing but measure the positions of stars with a precision so fine it borders on the unbelievable, mapping the tiny motions of more than 1 billion stars, watching the whole sky drift with the slowness of something that will not finish moving for an age. There is something deeply moving in this, if you let yourself feel it. Picture the astronomers, generation handing the work to generation, each one taking their careful measurements and adding them to the long record. None of them able to see the answer arrive in their own lifetime. All of them simply listening patiently to the almost imperceptible drift of light across the dark. No drama, no sudden discovery, only attention, the same quiet attention you might give to a sleeping child or a slowly falling snow, held steady across years and decades, until the faintest motion in the heavens finally gave up its secret. That is how we came to know, not by reaching the stars, but by watching them gently for a very long time. And what they found when the watching was done only deepened the wonder. The motion toward us is clear and strong. The sideways drift is small, smaller than many once expected. And a small sideways drift means that Andromeda is not merely passing through our neighborhood on its way to somewhere else. It means the two galaxies are aimed, more or less, at one another. Two great wheels of starlight, falling together across an ocean of dark on a course that has been set for billions of years by nothing more than the patient and unbreakable pull of gravity. So the first part of our question is answered now, and you can let it rest. We know that Andromeda approaches because its light leans toward the blue, crowded by its coming the way the hum of an approaching engine rises in pitch. We know its speed because the light tells us 100 kilometers and more every second, swift beyond our machines and yet slow against the vastness it must cross. And we know it is aimed our way because patient watchers, across many years and through two great telescopes, traced the faintest sideways creeping of its stars and found it small. The smudge in the autumn sky is not a stranger drifting past. It is a companion falling home. But answering one question in this quiet science has a way of opening another, softly, like one door revealing the next. Because now a new question forms, and it is a larger one, and it will carry us through the nights to come. If these two great galaxies are truly falling toward each other, truly aimed across the dark, then what happens when they meet? What becomes of two cities, of 100 billion suns, when they finally arrive at the same place in the sky? Does it end in ruin? Does it end in fire? Or does it end in something stranger and gentler than any of us would guess? That is where we will go, but not tonight. Tonight, you have followed the light a very long way, from a faint smudge in the autumn dark all the way down into the hidden colors hiding inside it, and that is far enough. Let the question rest unanswered for now. Let the galaxies keep falling, slowly, while you let yourself grow heavier against the place where you lie. There is no need to know the ending yet. There is only the dark and the patient light still crossing it, and your own slow breath, drawing the night a little closer with every gentle rise and fall. For a long time, the story had an ending, and the ending was certain. The astronomers had measured the approach. They had read the blue shift in the light and traced the faint sideways drift of the stars across the years, and when they gathered all of it together and let the numbers tell their tale, the tale seemed clear and settled. The two galaxies were falling toward one another, aimed nearly straight, and in roughly 4 to 5 billion years they would meet, not pass, not brush by, meet. They would collide and tangle, and slowly, over further billions of years, merge into a single new galaxy. This was the ending. For years it was told this way, in classrooms and books and quiet documentaries, as one of the few things about the distant future we could say with confidence. The sun would age, the earth would change, and the Milky Way would one day join with Andromeda. It was written into the future, like a date already circled on a calendar no one alive would ever reach. There was a strange comfort in that certainty. It is a human thing to want the future to hold still long enough for us to see it. We reach for the firm answer the way a hand reaches for a railing in the dark. And so we held this one close. 4 billion years, a collision, a merger, an ending we would never witness, but could at least be sure of. It felt good to know. But the universe, it turns out, is not quite so easily pinned down. And what happened next is not a story of error or of someone being wrong. It is a gentler story than that, and a stranger one. It is the story of how, the more closely we looked, the more the future opened up rather than closing down, because the watching never stopped. The patient eyes kept returning to the sky. The Gaia spacecraft, drifting far from Earth, went on measuring the positions and motions of more than 1 billion stars with a delicacy beyond anything that had come before, refining and refining what we knew. And astronomers took all of this new and finer data, the most precise measurements ever made of how these galaxies move, and they did something careful with it. They did not simply ask, where are the galaxies headed? They asked a humbler and wiser question. They asked, given everything we know, and given everything we are still unsure of, what are all the things that could happen? This is a quiet shift, but it changes everything, and it is worth resting on. When you measure something in the heavens, you never measure it perfectly. There is always a little softness around the number, a little range of uncertainty, a whisper of maybe. The speed of Andromeda toward us, the faint sideways drift, the mass of each galaxy, none of these is a single hard fact. Each is a best guess wrapped in a gentle cloud of possibility. And for a long time, we mostly worked with the best guesses at the center of those clouds, and the best guesses pointed toward collision. But the clouds were always there, around every number, quietly holding other possibilities inside them. So the astronomers decided to take the clouds seriously. Rather than running the future once, with the single best set of numbers, they ran it tens of thousands of times. They built the 2 galaxies inside their machines, and the companions that travel with them, and then they let the future play out again and again, each time choosing slightly different values from within those clouds of uncertainty, exploring every reasonable version of how heavy the galaxies might be and how fast they might truly be moving and in exactly which direction. 100,000 futures, each one a little different, each one obeying the laws of gravity, each one entirely possible given what we know. And then they stood back and asked, in how many of these futures do the galaxies collide? What would you guess? After all those years of certainty, after the date circled on the calendar, what do you suppose all those thousands of futures showed? They showed a coin flip, not certainty, not the clean, inevitable collision we had told ourselves for so long. Across the next 10 billion years, only about half of those futures ended with the Milky Way and Andromeda truly merging. In the other half, something gentler happened. The galaxies approached, leaned toward each other, drew close, and then, in many of those futures, simply passed by, or slowed and circled at a distance, or wandered on through the dark for ages more without ever truly joining. The future that had seemed so fixed, so written, turned out to be balanced on a knife's edge, as open as a question, as undecided as the toss of a coin spinning in the air. And there is a reason the future opened up like this, a reason both simple and beautiful, and it has to do with the fact that the Milky Way and Andromeda are not alone. We have spoken of them as two, as a pair, two great spirals falling toward one another across an empty dark. But the dark between them is not entirely empty, and neither galaxy travels alone. Around the Milky Way there drift smaller companion galaxies, like small boats following a great ship, and the largest of these is a lovely cloud of stars visible from the southern half of the Earth, called the Large Magellanic Cloud. And near Andromeda there turns a third sizable spiral, smaller than the other two, but not small, called the Triangulum Galaxy. These companions are not bystanders. They have mass, and anything with mass pulls on everything around it, and so they tug, gently but persistently, on the great dance of the two larger galaxies. Think of how delicate this is. The path of the Milky Way through the dark is not set by Andromeda alone. It is nudged, ever so slightly, by the pull of the Large Magellanic Cloud drifting alongside it. And it turns out that this large companion tugs the Milky Way in a direction that runs across the line between us and Andromeda, sideways to the great approach. And that sideways tug is enough, in many of the simulated futures, to shift the Milky Way just enough that it misses a head-on meeting. A small companion, far less massive than either giant, changes the fate of both simply by leaning on the path at the right angle. And the Triangulum Galaxy, near Andromeda, pulls the other way and makes a meeting a little more likely. The two great galaxies fall toward each other, and all the while the smaller ones whisper to them, this way, no, that way, nudging the outcome one way and then the other, until the future itself hangs in the balance of these gentle and competing pulls. Is it not remarkable that something so small could decide something so vast? That the faint tug of a companion galaxy could be the difference between two giants merging and two giants passing in the night. It is a reminder of how deeply everything in the cosmos is connected, how no motion happens in isolation, how the smallest neighbor can shape the destiny of the largest. Nothing out there moves alone. Everything leans on everything else. Now, it would be easy to feel a kind of disappointment in this. We had an answer, clean and certain, and now we have a coin flip, a maybe, a shrug from the universe. We reached for the railing in the dark and found that it was not quite where we thought. And if you wanted, you could read this as a loss, as the universe taking back something it had given us. But there is another way to hold it, a softer and truer way, and it is this. The uncertainty is not the universe withholding an answer. It is the universe being larger and freer than our certainty ever was. We were the ones who insisted the future be simple. We were the ones who circled the date and called it settled. The cosmos never promised us that. It was always more open than our wish for a clean ending, always holding more possibilities than we allowed it. And when we looked closely enough, carefully enough, honestly enough, what we found was not a failure of knowledge. What we found was room. Room for the future to breathe. Room for more than one ending. The universe, it turns out, has not yet decided. And there is something almost tender in being told that the story is still being written, even now, even as you lie here in the dark. And notice, too, that this is not the same as knowing nothing. This is the gentle and grown-up kind of knowing, the kind that holds an answer loosely and lets it remain partly open. We still know a great deal. We know the two galaxies are falling toward each other. We know the speed and the rough direction and the slow scale of the ages over which it all unfolds. We know that if they do meet, they will merge into something new, and we know roughly what that something would look like. What we do not know is the single detail of whether the meeting truly comes, and when, and how close. And so the future arrives to us not as a blank, and not as a certainty, but as something in between, something richer than either, a shape we can see clearly, with one soft edge left unfinished. Is that not, in its own way, more beautiful than the certain ending ever was? A future you could predict perfectly would be a kind of cage, every motion already set, every outcome already decided, nothing left to unfold. But this open question hanging across 10 billion years, this is a future that is still alive. The galaxies are still choosing, in a sense, still leaning and being leaned upon, still falling through a dark full of gentle competing pulls, and the ending has not yet been spoken. We are watching a story whose final page has not been written, and we get to know that we will never read it, and somehow that is all right. Somehow there is peace in it. Let us hold the possibilities gently then, the way you might hold several smooth stones in an open palm, not choosing one, just feeling the weight of each. In some of the futures, the two galaxies meet sooner, drawn together within the next several billion years, much as the old certain story told. They collide and tangle and slowly merge, and over further billions of years they settle into a single great galaxy. In many of the futures, the meeting comes later, much later, perhaps 8 or 10 billion years from now, the galaxies circling each other for a long age first, drawing close and drifting apart and drawing close again, like two dancers who take their time until at last they lose enough of their motion to fall together. And in some of the futures, the simplest and quietest of all, they never truly meet. They approach, they lean close, they pass through one another's neighborhood, and then they continue on, two great spirals drifting onward through the deepening dark, each largely untouched, each carrying its 100 billion suns onward into a future of its own. No one knows which of these is the true future. Perhaps no one ever will. Not really, not until the ages themselves reveal it long after every eye that could read this has closed. And the astronomers, far from being troubled by this, are already preparing to look again. The patient watching continues. Gaia keeps measuring. New data is gathered. The clouds of uncertainty are slowly narrowed. And with each passing year, the picture grows a little clearer, the soft edge of the future drawn a little finer. They speak of it not with anxiety, but with a kind of quiet eagerness, the way you might look forward to the next chapter of a story you love without needing to skip ahead. They are content to keep listening. They are content to let the universe keep its secret a while longer, and to earn small pieces of it gently, with care, across the long, patient labor of generations. There is a lesson hidden in this, if you want one, though you do not need to take it. It is the quiet truth that not knowing is not the same as being lost, that a future can be both knowable and open at once, both understood in its broad shape and free in its final details. We so often want to know exactly how things will turn out, and we ache a little when we cannot. But here is the whole cosmos showing us another way to be. Here are two giant galaxies, falling through the dark for billions of years, and even they do not know yet how their story ends. And they fall anyway, serenely, without hurry, without fear, leaning into a future they cannot see. There is no anxiety in them. There is only the slow and certain pull of gravity and the long openness of time. You can rest in that tonight. You do not need to know how anything turns out. Not the galaxies, not the long future, not even the small uncertainties of your own days, the ones that drift at the edges of your mind when the room goes quiet. The future is allowed to be open. It is allowed to hold more than one ending. And you are allowed to lie here in the soft unknowing of it, held by the present moment, by the weight of your body against the bed, by the simple certainty of your own slow breathing, while everything larger than you goes on falling gently through the dark, in no hurry at all to arrive. So let the possibilities settle now, like the stones returning to still water. Maybe the galaxies meet, maybe they pass, maybe soon, in the slow speech of the cosmos, maybe far away in time. It does not need to be decided tonight. Nothing needs to be decided tonight. The not knowing is soft, and the dark is kind, and the great wheels of light go on turning above you whether or not anyone ever learns how their long fall ends. But suppose, for the nights ahead, that they do meet. Suppose the coin comes down on the side of the slow embrace. What would that even mean for two cities of 100 billion suns to fall into one another? We have called it a collision, but is that the right word for something so vast and so slow and so strange? That is the question waiting for us next. For now, let it wait. For now, only rest, and let the galaxies fall, and let yourself fall with them, gently, towards sleep. So let us follow that path, the one the universe has studied most, the long, slow road on which the two galaxies do meet. Let us suppose the coin comes down gently on the side of the embrace, and let us walk that road together, slowly, the way it would truly unfold, across spans of time so vast they make the word patient seem far too small. The first thing to release is the word collision itself. It is the word we reach for because it is the word we know. When we hear that two things are falling toward each other across the dark, we picture impact. We picture the sudden violence of two cars meeting on a road, or two stones struck together, that hard, bright instant of contact and shattering. It is the only kind of meeting our small, fast lives have taught us to imagine. But nothing about what happens between these two galaxies is sudden, and nothing about it is hard, and the word collision, with all its noise and suddenness, may be the least true word we could choose. What happens between the Milky Way and Andromeda is not a crash, it is a courtship. It is a slow and stately drawing together, a dance whose every step takes longer than the age of the earth. And if we are going to follow it honestly, we must learn to move at its pace. Because galaxies do not simply run into one another and stop. That is not how it works at all. Two galaxies falling together do not strike and shatter like dropped glass. They reach for each other and miss and swing past and come back and reach again, circling and circling, drawing a little closer with each long pass, like two dancers who begin at opposite ends of a great dark hall and spiral slowly inward over an age, never quite touching at first, always turning around one another, until at last, after many slow revolutions, they fall into one another's arms. The meeting is not a moment. The meeting is the dance itself, and the dance lasts billions of years. And here we come to one of the strangest and most beautiful truths of all, the thing that makes the dance possible, the invisible partner in the room. For the two galaxies do not move through truly empty space. Each of them is wrapped in something we cannot see, something vast and silent and far larger than the bright spiral of stars at its heart. We call it dark matter, and it is one of the deepest mysteries we know, a kind of matter that gives off no light, that we cannot see directly, that passes through ordinary things, almost as though they were not there. We know it is real because we feel its weight, because its gravity shapes the motion of everything around it. And every galaxy, including ours, sits at the center of an enormous invisible cloud of this dark matter, a halo far wider and far heavier than the visible galaxy within it, like a faint, vast atmosphere of weight surrounding a small, bright lamp. So when we picture the Milky Way and Andromeda, we must learn to see what is truly there. Not two bright spirals drifting through emptiness, but two great invisible clouds, each many times larger than the glowing wheel at its core, each reaching out into the dark far beyond the last visible star. And these two enormous halos, these two oceans of unseen weight, reach toward each other long before the bright parts ever come near. They touch first. They overlap and mingle in the dark, while the visible galaxies are still vast distances apart, two invisible tides flowing into one another across the deep. And it is here, in the meeting of these unseen halos, that the dance finds its rhythm, through something so gentle it can scarcely be called a force at all. For as the two galaxies swing past one another, each one moves through the other's halo of dark matter, and the dark matter, though it cannot be seen, can still be felt, still has weight, still pulls. And so each galaxy, ploughing through that invisible sea, feels a faint and steady drag, a soft resistance, the way a hand drawn slowly through deep water feels the water pushing gently back. The unseen matter drains away a little of the galaxy's motion with every pass, slows them by the smallest measure, like friction so soft it would take an age to notice. And this gentle drag is the whole secret of the dance. Without it, the two galaxies would simply swing past one another forever, out and back, out and back, never falling closer. But with it, with that faint and patient drain of motion through the dark, each pass brings them a little nearer, each swing a little tighter, the great orbit slowly shrinking across hundreds of millions of years, until inevitably, gently, the dance spirals inward toward its close. Feel how unhurried this is. Feel how nothing about it is violent. The galaxies are not pulled together by some sudden force. They are eased together, coaxed inward by the softest friction imaginable, the slow whisper of unseen matter brushing against unseen matter in the dark. It is less like a collision and more like the way a leaf, dropped onto the surface of a still pond, drifts slowly toward the center, turning gently as it goes, carried by motions too soft to see. Across hundreds of millions of years, the two giants are drawn inward by a touch lighter than breath. And now, let us watch the first true approach, the first of the great passes, and let us watch it the way it would actually happen, slowed to the pace of the cosmos. For a long age, almost nothing seems to change. Andromeda grows in our sky with the patience of a tide, larger and brighter across millions of years, but no single night would show its motion. And then, slowly, slowly, the two galaxies draw near enough that the bright parts, the glowing wheels of stars themselves, begin at last to feel one another. And here something rises that we have not yet spoken of, a force as gentle as it is enormous, the long reach of the tides. You know tides already. In a smaller form, the ocean rises and falls along the shore because the moon, far away, pulls a little more strongly on the near side of the earth, than on the far side, and that small difference in pull stretches the seas into a gentle swell that follows the moon around the world. That is a tide. It is what happens when gravity pulls on one part of a thing more than another, and so begins, ever so slowly, to stretch it. And what the moon does to the oceans of the earth, in the smallest and softest way, the two galaxies begin to do to each other on a scale beyond all imagining. As the Milky Way and Andromeda sweep close on that first great pass, each one's gravity pulls more strongly on the near side of the other than on the far side, and across the vast bodies of the galaxies, that difference begins to stretch them. Slowly, over tens of millions of years, the outer edges of each spiral are drawn outward, lifted away from the rest, pulled into long trailing arms of stars and gas that stream out across the dark. These are the tidal tails, and they are among the most beautiful things in all the universe. Great luminous ribbons, made of millions upon millions of stars, drawn out from the bodies of the galaxies and flung in vast graceful arcs across the void, curving and glowing and unspooling into the dark like streamers of light caught in some slow and silent wind. Imagine standing somewhere far away, somewhere outside it all, watching this first encounter unfold, sped up so that ages pass in moments. You would see the two great spirals sweep toward each other, their bright disks tilting, and as they near, you would see those long shining arms begin to lift away from each side, reaching out, curving, two enormous streamers of stars stretched across a darkness so wide they would seem to hang almost motionless even as they raced. The galaxies would pass close, their bright cores swinging by one another, their disks distorted now, warped and bent by the gentle violence of the tides, and they would not stop. They would sweep past, carrying those long, luminous tails behind them, swinging out and away into the dark once more. The dance not ended, but only turned through its first great figure, the two of them drifting apart again across millions of years before the slow drag of the dark matter brings them wheeling back for another pass. And here is the thing to hold on to, the thing that keeps all of this gentle rather than terrible. Through all of this stretching and tearing and unspooling, through the long bright agony of the tidal tails, the galaxies themselves are not being destroyed in any quick or cruel way. They are being rearranged. They are being unwound. The neat and lovely spirals are slowly losing their shape, their arms pulled loose, their disks bent and disturbed. But it is happening with the slowness of erosion, the slowness of a coastline reshaped by 10,000 years of patient waves. There is no single moment of catastrophe. There is only the long, long process of two ordered things slowly becoming one new thing, and the streamers of light arcing across the dark are not wreckage so much as the visible trace of a transformation. The way the long trail of a comet is not destruction but simply beauty made visible by motion. We see this, you know. We do not have to imagine it alone. When we turn our great telescopes out into the deeper dark, we find other galaxies, far away, caught in this very dance, frozen by their distance into single still images, two spirals reaching toward each other with those long, luminous tails streaming out between them. We have given them names. We see them tangled in their slow embrace, their bright cores drawing near, their arms drawn out into shining bridges and streamers across the void, and because they are so far and the dance so slow, each one is held for us in a single moment, like a photograph of a gesture that takes 100 million years to complete. When we look at these distant pairs, we are looking at our own future and at our own past. For our galaxy has done this before, has grown over the ages by drawing in smaller galaxies, swallowing them gently into itself across the long history of the cosmos. The Milky Way you live within is itself the result of many such slow embraces already. This is not a strange fate. This is simply what galaxies do across the great ages when the patient pull of gravity draws them near. So let us return to the dance, and let us let it run to its close, gently, across the billions of years it would truly take. After the first great pass, the two galaxies sweep apart, trailing their long tails of light, drifting out into the dark. But the unseen drag has done its quiet work, and they do not drift apart as far as before. The orbit has shrunk, just slightly, and so they fall back, swinging toward each other again. And this second pass is closer than the first, the cores nearer, the stretching deeper, more streamers drawn out into the dark, and then apart again, less far this time, and back again, closer still. Pass after pass, each one tighter than the last, each separated from the next by hundreds of millions of years. The two galaxies wheel around one another in a slowly closing spiral, drawing in, the great hall of the dance shrinking with every turn, and with each pass, the lovely ordered spirals lose a little more of their shape. The arms unwind. The discs, once flat and graceful, grow warped and thickened, stars flung onto new paths. The careful structure of 100 billion suns slowly stirred and softened like cream folded into still water. There is no hurry in any of it. A single pass might take longer than all the time that has elapsed since the first complex life appeared on Earth. The whole long courtship, from the first true approach to the final settling, might span 2 billion years or more, an interval so vast that the word slow loses all its meaning, and we are left only with awe, and feel, as we watch it, how little of this is loss. We tend to mourn the spiral, the beautiful familiar wheel of our home galaxy, and it is true that the spiral does not survive the dance. But what replaces it is not nothing. What is being made, across all these slow billions of years, is something new, a single greater galaxy born from the gentle joining of two. The dance is not an ending, it is a becoming. Two streams flowing together do not destroy each other, they make a river. Two voices joining do not silence each other, they make a chord. And two galaxies, falling together across the patient dark, drawn inward by the soft friction of the unseen, stretching one another into long arcs of light along the way, are not crashing toward ruin. They are slowly, slowly becoming one. That is the dance, then, in its long and stately shape. Not a collision, but a courtship. Not an instant, but an age. Two great spirals wrapped in invisible halos, reaching toward each other through the dark, swinging past and back and past again, each pass drawing tighter as the unseen matter softly drains their motion away, each pass lifting more shining streamers into the void, the lovely ordered wheels slowly unwinding into something new across 2 billion years of patient turning. There is grandeur in it, beyond anything our small, fast lives can easily hold, and there is gentleness in it too. The deep gentleness of things that happen so slowly that no violence remains in them, only transformation, only the long, quiet work of becoming. You do not need to follow it all the way to its end tonight. We have watched the dance begin, watched the halos touch, and the first great pass sweep by. Watch the long bright tails unspool across the dark, and that is far enough for now. Let the galaxies keep turning above you, slowly, in no hurry to arrive. Let the long streamers of light hang shining in the deep, where your mind can almost see them. And let yourself grow heavier and softer here in the dark, carried by motions too gentle to feel, drifting toward the center of sleep, the way a leaf drifts across still water, turning slowly, slowly, in no hurry at all to arrive. Now we come to the gentlest truth of all, the one that turns this whole story from something fearful into something tender, and I want you to let it settle over you slowly, because it is the heart of everything we have been moving toward. When two galaxies fall together across the dark, when their bright wheels of stars sweep through one another and tangle and slowly merge, you might imagine a sky full of fire. You might imagine suns smashing into suns, worlds shattering, a great bright catastrophe of light and ruin as 100 billion stars from one galaxy meet 100 billion stars from the other. It is the natural thing to picture. Two crowds rushing together must surely collide. And yet here is the truth, soft and almost unbelievable, the truth that lets us tell this story as a lullaby and not a warning. The stars almost certainly never touch, not one. Across the entire long embrace of the two galaxies, through all the billions of years of their slow merging, the chance that any single star from Andromeda strikes any single star from the Milky Way is so small that we can very nearly call it zero. The two great crowds of suns pass through one another like two clouds of mist drifting through the same patch of air, mingling completely, occupying the same space, and yet never colliding, each star sailing on untouched through the gentle dark. The galaxies merge. The stars do not crash. And the reason for this is one of the most staggering and beautiful facts in all of nature, the fact of how unimaginably empty a galaxy truly is. We do not feel this emptiness when we look up at the night sky. The stars seem crowded there, scattered thick across the dark, and the soft band of the Milky Way seems so dense with them that they blur into a single glow. It looks full. It looks like a place where things would surely bump into one another. But that fullness is an illusion of distance. The way a distant forest looks like a solid wall of green, when in truth it is mostly air and space between the trees. The stars only seem close together because they are so far away that we cannot see the vast gulfs between them. And those gulfs are beyond anything our ordinary minds can hold. So let us hold them anyway, slowly, with a picture we can almost feel. Imagine our sun, this enormous burning star that holds the Earth and all its sister worlds in its gravity, a ball of fire so large that more than 1,000,000 Earths could fit inside it. Imagine shrinking it down, all the way down, until it is no larger than a single grain of sand, a tiny grain you could rest on the tip of your finger. Now ask yourself, at that scale, with the sun shrunk to a single grain of sand, how far away would the very nearest other star be? How far away would the next grain of sand lie? Not a handful of inches, not across the room. At that scale, with our sun as a grain of sand, the nearest neighboring star would be another grain of sand resting many kilometers away. Kilometers. You would have a single tiny grain here, and then nothing at all, for the length of a long walk across a city, and then, somewhere far across that emptiness, a single other grain. Two grains of sand, separated by kilometers of empty air, with nothing whatsoever between them. That is the true density of the stars. That is how spread out the great crowd really is. The galaxy is not a crowded place. It is an almost perfect emptiness, with the rarest scattering of tiny lights, each one impossibly far from the next. Let that picture deepen for a moment, because it is worth dwelling in. If you stood at one grain of sand and wished to reach the next, you would walk for the length of a town, and in all that walking you would pass through nothing but empty dark, no other grains. No dust to speak of, nothing to bump against, only the long quiet space between. And this is not some unusually empty corner of the galaxy. This is everywhere. This is what the whole great spiral is made of, mostly. A galaxy is not a thing crowded with stars. A galaxy is a vast and gentle emptiness, faintly sprinkled with stars so far apart that the spaces between them dwarf the stars themselves, almost beyond comprehension. And now, holding that, return to the meeting of the two galaxies and feel how everything changes. When the Milky Way and Andromeda fall together, we are not bringing two crowded cities into collision. We are bringing two enormous, nearly empty clouds of scattered grains into the same space. And because the grains are so few and the emptiness so vast, the two clouds simply pass through one another. A grain from one cloud drifts through the great spaces of the other and finds, almost always, nothing in its path at all. No other grain anywhere near it. Only the same familiar emptiness it has always known. The two galaxies can occupy the very same region of space, fully overlapping, completely merged, and still each star sails on alone through the dark, never meeting another, never struck, never shattered, simply carried along into a new and larger arrangement of the same gentle emptiness. Think of what this means for any single star. Think of what it would mean for our own sun. If you stood upon a world circling our sun during the height of the great merger, during the very moment when Andromeda's stars filled the space all around us, you would not feel any collision, because there would be none. Your star would not strike another star. Your world would not be smashed. The ground beneath you, if there were ground, would remain. The sun above you, if it still shone, would go on shining. The stars of Andromeda would be all around you in the sky, yes, but they would be no nearer to touching you than the stars are tonight. They would simply be there, new lights scattered across the dark, each one still impossibly far away, each one passing by across the slow ages without ever coming close. The merger of two galaxies, seen from inside, from the surface of a single small world, would be almost silent, almost still, a slow and stately rearrangement of the distant lights and nothing more. Let that be a comfort to you, lying here in the dark. The great events of the cosmos, the ones that sound so violent when we name them, are often the gentlest things imaginable when seen up close. A collision of galaxies is not a smashing, it is a passing through. It is two vast emptinesses sharing the same space for a while, two faint scatterings of light drifting through one another, and at the scale of any single star, of any single world, of any single creature who might be lying somewhere out there looking up, almost nothing happens at all. The lights in the sky rearrange themselves, slowly, across spans of time longer than the mind can hold. And that is all. So what does change then? If the stars do not touch, if the worlds are not destroyed, if a single sun sails on untouched through the whole long embrace, then what is the collision even made of? What truly happens when two galaxies merge? Here is the answer. and it is a quiet and lovely one. What changes is not the stars. What changes is the shape of everything. What changes is the architecture of the sky. The stars themselves go on, each one safe in its own vast pocket of emptiness. But the great pattern they are arranged in, the grand sweeping form of the galaxy, that is what is remade. The lovely flat spiral of the Milky Way, with its graceful curving arms, is a kind of order, a pattern in the way the stars move and gather. And when the two galaxies merge, that pattern is undone and a new one is slowly built. The stars are not destroyed, but they are sent onto new paths, their orderly circling motions stirred and scattered, so that over the long billions of years the flat and graceful spiral gives way to something rounder, fuller. A great swarming ball of stars moving every which way, gathered into the soft, swollen shape we call an elliptical galaxy. The architecture changes, the form changes, but every individual star, every individual sun, sails on through the change, untouched, simply following a new path through the same gentle dark. It is a little like watching a vast flock of birds wheel across an evening sky. The flock has a shape, a pattern, a great drifting form that moves and turns as one. And if two flocks fly into the same patch of sky, the shapes dissolve and mingle and slowly become a single new shape, a single greater flock, and yet not one bird has struck another. Each bird flies on, alive and whole, simply part of a new pattern now. That is what the merger of galaxies is like. The pattern changes. The birds do not fall. The shape of the whole is remade, while every small life within it goes on, untouched, carried into a new arrangement of the sky. And so the word collision, which we set down gently a little while ago, can be set down for good now. It was never the right word. There is no collision, not in the way we feared it. There is no smashing, no shattering, no great catastrophe of suns meeting suns. There is only a passing through, a mingling of two great emptinesses, a slow remaking of shape across spans of time so vast that calling any of it sudden would be absurd. The Milky Way and Andromeda do not crash. They merge the way two clouds merge, the way two flocks merge, the way two slow rivers of light flow together into one wider river, every drop still whole, nothing lost, only the form of the whole made new. There is one place where things do truly change, and it is worth naming softly, because even it is not the catastrophe we might imagine. The two galaxies do carry within them great clouds of gas and dust, the raw material from which new stars are born, and unlike the stars, these clouds are vast and diffuse, and far more likely to meet. When the galaxies merge, these clouds can crash into one another, and where they crash, they are squeezed and stirred, and out of that squeezing, new stars are born in great numbers, a slow, bright blossoming of fresh suns kindled by the meeting. So the merger, far from being a time of destruction, can be a time of creation, a great flowering of new stars lighting up across the joining galaxies. Even the one true crash within the whole long dance does not bring ruin, it brings birth, it brings new light into the dark. So you see what this story truly is. It is not a tale of two galaxies destroying one another. It is a tale of two galaxies becoming one, and in the becoming, almost nothing is lost, and something new is even made. The stars sail on, each safe in its ocean of emptiness. The worlds, if there are worlds, go on circling their suns. The sky rearranges itself, slowly, into a new and rounder shape, and new stars bloom in the places where the great clouds meet. And across all of it, across the whole vast and patient transformation, there is no catastrophe at all. There is only change, the slow and gentle change that everything in the universe is always undergoing, made visible for once on a scale large enough to see. And if the stars are that safe, that untouched, sailing alone through emptiness so vast that two whole galaxies can pass through one another without a single collision, then there is nothing in any of this to fear. Lie here and let that truth hold you. The thing that sounds the most violent in all the heavens, the crashing together of two great galaxies, turns out to be one of the gentlest things there is. A slow mingling of mostly empty space, a rearranging of distant lights, a becoming rather than an ending. The universe is far kinder, on close inspection, than its grand names would suggest. What sounds like ruin is so often, underneath, only transformation. So, what would it actually look like then, this slow rearranging of the sky, to anyone who stood beneath it across the long ages of the merger? If the stars sail on untouched, and the sky itself is what changes, then how would that change appear, night after night, age after age, to eyes turned upward from some small world below? That is where we will drift next, into the slow cinema of a changing sky. But not now. Now there is only this gentle truth to rest within. The stars do not touch. The worlds are not lost. Nothing out there is rushing toward harm. There is only the soft and patient remaking of shape, and your own slow breath, and the safe, small warmth of you, held here in the dark while the distant lights drift gently into their new arrangement. In no hurry, in no danger, in no hurry at all. So now, let us do the gentlest thing of all. Let us lie back, in our minds, beneath that changing sky, and simply watch it change. Let us become, for a little while, the one impossible witness who could see what no single life could ever see, the slow cinema of the heavens unfolding across millions and billions of years, the great wheel of Andromeda, growing in the dark above a world that is itself slowly becoming something new. Begin tonight with the sky as it is. Look up in your mind on a clear and moonless night, and find that faint familiar smudge in the autumn dark, the little oval of pale light hanging quietly among the stars of Andromeda. It is small, it is dim. You could cover it with the tip of a finger held at arm's length and never know you had hidden 1 trillion suns. Most people who have ever lived never noticed it at all. It is the softest of presences, easy to miss, easy to forget, a faint grey breath upon the black. This is where the great spiral begins, in our sky, tonight. A whisper of light, nothing more. Now, let the ages begin to turn, slowly, far slower than any clock, and let us watch. 1,000,000 years pass. The faint smudge has grown just slightly, just barely, a touch larger and a touch brighter in the dark. No single night across that whole long age would have shown the change. Anyone living through it would have looked up and seen the same quiet oval their grandparents saw, and their grandparents before them, unchanged, it would seem, forever. And yet, across the long, slow turning of 1,000,000 years, it has grown. The spiral is leaning closer, the light is gathering, the whisper is becoming, ever so faintly, a voice. Another 1,000,000 years, and another, and the smudge is now plainly larger. no longer a thing you might miss, but a soft glowing patch that draws the eye, wider than the moon perhaps, a pale luminous cloud spread across 1/4 of the sky, and as it nears, something wonderful begins to happen. The smudge, which was always only a blur to us, a featureless oval of distant light, begins to resolve. The closeness reveals its shape. Where there was once only a grey haze, now there are arms, faint curving arms of light sweeping out from a brighter core, the true spiral form of the galaxy emerging from the blur like a face emerging from mist, as someone walks toward you out of the fog. For the first time, the thing in the sky is no longer a smudge. It is a galaxy, seen plainly, its great wheel turning silently above the world. And how strange and beautiful it is that we who live now will never see this, and that is all right. Sit with that gently for a moment. The eyes that will look up at that glowing spiral, if any eyes do, will not be human eyes as we know them. They will belong to whatever the long ages have made, to creatures we cannot imagine, shaped by a future we will never enter. We will not be there. And there is no grief in this. Not really, only a kind of soft wonder, the wonder of knowing that the sky you cannot see is coming all the same, that the universe will go on staging its slow and silent spectacle long after the last of us has closed our eyes, painting the heavens with a glory that needs no witness to be real. The show goes on, whether or not anyone is watching. There is peace in that, if you let there be. The beauty does not require us. It simply unfolds. So let us keep watching. We few impossible witnesses, across the ages no living thing could span. The spiral grows. Age by age, epoch by epoch, the great wheel of Andromeda swells across the dark, brighter and wider with every passing million years, until it no longer hangs in one corner of the sky, but spreads across a great span of it, a vast luminous structure of light, its arms unfurling from horizon towards zenith, its core, a soft bright heart, glowing among the scattered nearer stars. Imagine it now. This thing that was once a smudge you could hide with a fingertip, grown so large that it fills a great reach of the heavens, a turning wheel of 1,000,000,000,000 suns spread out above the night. Its pale light, bright enough perhaps to cast the faintest shadows on the ground below, a second river of stars laid across the sky, beside the soft familiar band of our own. And the sky around it has changed too, in all those long ages, in ways no single glance could hold. For while the great spiral has been growing, the heavens nearer to us have been slowly drifting, the familiar constellations dissolving across the ages as the stars wander on their separate paths, the patterns our ancestors named and loved unspooling into new and unfamiliar shapes. No constellation lasts forever. The shapes we drew across the sky, the hunters and the bears and the great ships of the old stories, are only fleeting arrangements, dissolving slowly across the very ages we are watching, replaced by other shapes that will themselves dissolve in turn. The whole sky is in slow motion, always. Every star drifting, every pattern temporary. And against that drifting backdrop, the great spiral of Andromeda grows and grows. The one vast steady presence swelling in the dark while everything around it gently rearranges. And beneath this changing sky, the world itself has changed, for the earth keeps no more stillness than the heavens do. While the spiral has been growing across millions and billions of years, the very continents below have been wandering, sliding slowly across the face of the world on the deep, slow currents beneath them, drifting together and breaking apart the way they always have, the way they did long before us. The map of the world we know, the shapes of the coasts and the places of the seas, all of it is as temporary as the constellations, all of it slowly remade across the same vast ages. The oceans rise and fall and rise again. Mountains are lifted up and worn back down to plains. New seas open where dry land stood, and dry land rises where seas once rolled. By the time the great spiral fills the sky, the world it shines down upon would be a world we could not recognize, its continents gathered into shapes that have no names, its oceans poured into basins that do not yet exist, a familiar planet made utterly strange by the patient hand of time. And still the spiral grows. Still it leans closer, wider, brighter, until at last, in the great age of the closest approach, it would dominate the night entirely. An enormous wheel of light spanning the heavens from one side to the other, its glowing arms sweeping across the whole vault of the dark, its bright core a second light in the sky, so vast and so luminous that the night would no longer be truly dark at all, but softly lit by the gathered glow of 1 trillion distant suns. Imagine lying beneath that. Imagine a night sky filled, edge to edge, with the slow, silent turning of another galaxy, its light falling gently over a transformed world, its great arms hanging motionless overhead. And yet, if you could watch for 1,000,000 years, turning, always turning, in the patient silence of the deep, it would be the most beautiful sky that world had ever known. And it would be no one's to keep, only a single frame in a film that never stops, a glory passing through on its way to the next slow scene. How tender it is to think of it. All that beauty gathering across the ages, swelling silently in the dark above a world remaking itself below, and no promise that any eye will be there to receive it. Perhaps there will be, perhaps, beneath that vast bright spiral, on that unrecognizable world, or on some world circling some other star, there will be eyes to look up and wonder, minds to feel the awe we feel now, hearts to be quieted by the great, slow turning overhead. Or perhaps not. Perhaps that sky will hang above an empty and silent world, lit and glorious and unseen. And either way, it is beautiful. Either way, it is coming. The universe does not paint its slow masterpieces for an audience. It paints them because that is simply what it does. Because gravity and time and 1 trillion suns will arrange themselves into glory, whether or not anyone is there to call it glory. And there is something deeply restful in that thought, something that asks nothing of you at all. The beauty is not waiting on you. The beauty is not yours to hold or to lose. It simply comes in its own slow time, with or without you. And that is enough. So let us draw back now, gently, from that far bright age, and let the spiral shrink again in our minds, back across the billions of years, back through the dissolving constellations and the wandering continents, back through the slow swelling of the wheel of light, back to the faint small smudge in the autumn sky that it is tonight. Let it become a whisper again, a soft grey breath upon the black, easy to miss, easy to forget. That is where it is now. That is what you would see if you rose and went to your window on a clear, dark night and turned your eyes toward Andromeda, a faint and quiet smudge, the beginning of a glory that will take billions of years to bloom. And is that not a lovely thing to carry into sleep, that the small dim smudge you could see tonight is the seed of the most magnificent sky any world will ever wear? That, what looks like nothing now, is everything, only slowed, only waiting, only spread across more time than the mind can hold. You will never see the spiral fill the heavens. No one you will ever know will see it. And yet it is coming, surely, gently, drawn closer with every breath you take, growing in the dark across ages upon ages, a faint smudge, becoming a glowing cloud, becoming a vast turning wheel of light above a world made new. The slow cinema is already running. We are simply too brief to watch it, and that is all right. That is more than all right. It is one of the kindest facts there is, that the universe holds beauty so far beyond our seeing, beauty that does not need us, beauty that simply unfolds. So let your eyes stay closed now. You do not need to look up to know the smudge is there, leaning gently closer in the autumn dark, growing by the smallest measure, even in the time it has taken to speak these words. You do not need to see the great spiral fill the sky to feel how lovely it will be. You only need to lie here, beneath the unchanging seeming sky of this one brief night, and let the slow cinema run on without you, the constellations drifting, the continents wandering, the great wheel of Andromeda turning silently closer through the dark, all of it unfolding across the vast patient ages while you rest and breathe, and let yourself grow heavy and soft and still beneath a sky that is always, always quietly becoming something new. And now let us come home. Let us draw back from the vast turning wheels and the dissolving constellations and the slow cinema of the changing sky, and let us return gently to our own small place within it all, to our sun, to our handful of circling worlds, to the quiet corner of the galaxy where everything we have ever known has lived. Because in all this talk of merging galaxies and trillion suns and ages beyond imagining, there is one small question that matters most to us, one tender and human question waiting quietly underneath all the grandeur. What happens to us? What happens to our sun, our Earth, our own small bright home, when the great galaxies fall together? And the answer, like so much in this story, is far gentler than you might fear. Our solar system most likely is not destroyed. It is not shattered, not burned, not torn apart. Through the whole long embrace of the two galaxies, through all the billions of years of their slow merging, our sun and its family of worlds most probably remain exactly what they are. A sun with its planets circling faithfully around it, held together by the same gravity that holds them now, sailing on through the changing galaxy as one small intact whole. Remember what we learned, that the stars are so far apart, scattered through such vast emptiness, that they pass through one another's space without ever touching. Our sun is one of those stars. And so, like nearly all the others, it sails through the great merger untouched, its world still gathered close around it, its little system still whole. What changes for us is not whether we survive the merger. What changes is where we end up, our place, our address in the new and greater galaxy that the merger will slowly build. For our sun does not sit fixed in the Milky Way. It moves, as all the stars move, carried in its own great slow circle around the center of the galaxy, a journey so vast that a single orbit takes hundreds of millions of years. And when the two galaxies merge, when the orderly circling motions of all those stars are stirred and scattered into new paths, our sun's path is stirred along with them. It is sent somewhere new. And where it is sent, no one can say for certain, because the merger allows so many gentle possibilities. In some of the futures, our sun is flung outward. The gentle chaos of the merger casts it far from the center, out into the quiet, sparse reaches of the new galaxy's edge, into a wider and lonelier orbit than the one it travels now. Imagine that. Imagine our sun carried gently to the outskirts, to the soft, dark margins where the stars grow few and far between, circling slowly through a quieter sky, the dense, bright crowds of the galactic center left far behind. It is not an ending. It is only a new and more distant home, a lonelier station in the dark, our small system sailing on through emptier space, still whole, still warm, still holding its worlds close. In other futures, our sun is drawn the other way, pulled inward, carried closer to the bright, dense heart of the new galaxy, into a sky thick with stars, a crowded and luminous place where the nights would never be truly dark. And in still other futures it settles somewhere in between, neither cast out nor pulled in, simply rearranged onto some new long orbit through the great combined swarm of stars. The simulations allow them all. The future is open here too, as open as it was for the galaxies themselves, a soft scattering of possibilities, no single one written in stone. But through every one of them, through outward and inward and in between, one thing holds steady, one thing remains. Our sun keeps its worlds. The little system stays intact. Wherever it is carried whole. There is such reassurance in that, if you let it reach you. The great merger of galaxies, this event that sounds so vast and so dangerous, does not come for us. It does not shatter our home. It only moves it. It only changes our place in the sky, the way a slow current might carry a small boat from one part of a wide lake to another without ever tipping it. The people aboard, still safe, still together, only somewhere new. Our sun and its worlds are that small boat, drifting on the great slow current of the merger, carried to some new and unknown shore, but carried gently, carried whole, the family of planets still gathered close around their star through all the long passage. Now, there is one truth we must hold alongside this, softly, without fear, because honesty is its own kind of comfort. Our sun has its own life, its own long clock, separate from the story of the galaxies, and that clock runs by its own time. Stars are born, and stars age, and stars come at last to the end of their long burning, and our sun is no exception. Across billions of years it will slowly change, swelling in its old age into a great red star, before settling at last into a quiet, glowing ember, the way all stars of its kind eventually do. This is its own slow story, unfolding on its own schedule, neither hurried nor halted by anything the galaxies do. The merger and the sun's aging are two separate clocks, two separate slow songs, each playing out across the billions of years in its own time. But notice, even here, there is no catastrophe in the merger itself. Whatever becomes of the sun in its own long life, it is the sun's own story, written by the sun's own years, not by the falling together of galaxies. The merger does not end our sun. The merger only moves it. And so we can set down, fully now, the last of any fear we carried into this story. Our home is not destroyed by the meeting of the galaxies. Our home is only carried somewhere new, still whole, still warm, still ours, while its star goes on living out its own long, quiet life by its own slow clock. And what of the place our sun is carried to? What is the great new galaxy that all this slow falling together will build? It has a name, a soft and almost playful name that astronomers sometimes use, made by blending the names of the two galaxies into one. MILKY, some call it, or MILKDROMEDA, a single name for a single new galaxy born from the joining of the Milky Way and Andromeda across the long billions of years. And if you wonder what it would look like, that new galaxy, the answer is gentle too. It would not be a spiral. The graceful flat wheels of the two old galaxies, with their lovely curving arms, do not survive the merging. What forms instead, across the long settling of all those stirred and scattered stars, is something rounder, fuller, softer in shape. A great swarming ball of stars, gathered into a vast, gentle sphere, moving every which way at once, no longer the ordered flatness of a spiral, but the quiet fullness of what we call an elliptical galaxy. Picture it. A great rounded cloud of stars, soft at its edges, glowing steadily in the dark. The two old spirals dissolved at last into one calm and settled whole. And it would be an old galaxy, this MILKDROMEDA, a quiet one, for by the time it is fully formed, the great clouds of gas that once gave birth to new stars will largely have been used up, spent in the bright flowering of star birth that the merger kindled long before. And when the gas is gone, no new stars are born. The galaxy simply ages. Its existing stars grow old together, the brightest and hottest of them burning out first, leaving behind the smaller, cooler, longer-lived stars, the patient ones that glow softly for ages upon ages. And so MILKDROMEDA would settle into a long, quiet age, a galaxy of aging stars and settled light, no longer blazing with the bright young suns of its spiral youth, but glowing instead with a softer, redder, gentler light, the warm, dim glow of a great old crowd of stars settling slowly into rest. There is something so peaceful in that picture, a galaxy grown old and calm, its wild youth of spiral arms and bursting star birth long behind it. Its stars settled into quiet orbits within a soft round cloud, glowing dimly, evenly, restfully, across ages so long they make everything that came before seem like a single fleeting morning. That is where all this slow falling together leads, in the end. Not to ruin, not to fire, to rest, to a quiet old galaxy, glowing softly in the dark, holding its aging stars gently, our own small sun perhaps among them somewhere, carried out to some quiet edge or in towards some glowing heart, still whole, still circled by whatever remains of its family, sailing on through the calm settled light. So let that be where we rest tonight, not in fear of what comes, but in the quiet knowing of it. Our home is safe, our sun keeps its worlds, the great merger does not come to destroy us. It only carries us, gently, somewhere new, and the galaxy it builds is a calm and ancient thing, soft and round and glowing, a place of settled light. Feel how the story has grown quieter now. We began so far away, with vast wheels turning across millions of light years, and slowly we have come home, to our sun, to our small bright system, to the gentle truth that it endures. Our home is not lost, it is only moved. Our sun keeps its worlds. It always has, it always will, through all the long passage. The galaxies fall together, and we are carried with them, whole, and at the end of all that falling, there is only a quiet old galaxy, glowing softly in the dark, a great calm cloud of aging stars, settled, light, rest. So let yourself grow quiet too, here in your own small place, your own warm bed in your own dark room, one tiny safe corner of one star's family, sailing gently through it all. You are carried too. You are held too, whole and safe, and slowly drifting toward your own quiet rest. Let the galaxy settle. Let the light grow soft. Let yourself be carried gently into sleep.